Okay, we will start now. Okay, so today we are come back with Tudor Park TDPK Talk Global Tech Review EP 19. So the topic today is telling customer creativity and regain brand image positivity with AI by Dr. เต้ย จุฬาเทพ นะคะ So can you please introduce yourself and the topic that you will teach us today or just share the experience for us today. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Kun El. It's really a pleasure for me to be here.
Okay,
to speak through Digital Park on behalf of IKI Institute of Innovation and Knowledge and Bangkok University. I'm proudly to be here, right?
Okay.
So it is really really being an honor to be here. So this is episode is it 19, right?
Yeah,
episode
it's 19 now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that True Digital Park has offer this kind of technology and knowledge sharing to the public, right? So with knowledge and innovation center of excellence that Bangkok University had offered to the public as well. We are so proud to be partnering with True to at least share our activity together. At least I hope there will be more of these kind of events that we can at least share our aspect.
So I heard that BU IKI has many topics about AI like that.
Actually, not just AI though. There are many other kind of advanced innovations, not just only to AI though. There are many other innovations.
Like I have many categories type like that. Yeah.
Right,
okay.
Right.
So for today, the topic is like a creativity with AI, right? Like
yes.
Okay.
It will be about human creativity, marketing, and AI. How it's blended together, right?
Okay.
It's not that advanced though, but it's kind of being fundamental. So you're gonna learn about human creativity, how we measure it, and the basic of AI, just AI 101 or something like that. So if you can expect the very advanced on AI, then this may not be that, but it will be a good solid foundation for some kind of beginners on how much you learn, how AI works. Just laid out the foundation of that. Maybe very interesting for the beginner. Right.
Okay. So can we start with your presentation, and then maybe we have like a 10 minutes for Q&A session at the end of the session.
Right.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay.
So we can start now.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Let me switch to my presentation, and then we can begin our presentation right now. Okay. Right. We can do that. All right. I will explore this. Let's see.
Okay. It's okay.
Okay. This is the starting page. Okay. By the way, I had enabled the AI functions to capture my speaking here, sometimes I don't know how accurate it is, but the caption to capture my speaking and narrating it into text. I hope it worked correctly, though. This is a function of AI as well. I hope it helps. Anyway, so the topic that I'm going to cover today is the trailing customer creativity and regain brand images positivity with AI. All right. Okay, that would be one of the interesting topic in the human creativity, AI, and marketing field. So there will be three fields altogether in one. All right. So before we begin, let me introduce the place where I'm working for a little bit. Not too deep though. I'm working for the Institute for Knowledge and Innovation Southeast Asia, which is the center of excellence in the field of knowledge and innovation management. Right. We are the center in Bangkok University that we are working producing for the next generation of knowledge. Right. We do business creativity, innovation management, and knowledge management. Well, we provide mainly academic kind of knowledge for master degree and PhD level. We produce students. So if you are thinking about sending your kids, your loved ones, or even you yourself, if you want to continue your higher study in the field of knowledge or innovation management, then I would like to say that we produce one of the best KM and innovation management in Thailand and in the world. I could say one of the best. Yes, we are. So apart from international academic degrees, we also do the research in this field. We also provide corporate trainings. We also do consulting and coaching, right? And we also have short-term, half a day events like G-Links is next generation advanced knowledge, half a day or something like that. We invite gurus and all those kind of scholars from all over the world who fly in and share their experiences and you know, for like an hour or something maximum, and like a conference or something. We also do the knowledge sharing communities like iClub, and also we are partnering with TRIS and OKMD and many organizations in Thailand to form the Thailand KM network as well. So we also are partnered with Global KM network. We are trying to form a global one with the community like that. And also last year we had just formulated the Mike Award, which is the Global KM network most admired innovation and knowledge management award that gives the best organizations that manage knowledge and innovation in the world. Is a world competing kind of award. So, we had already it was the first year, and we had award some of the companies in Thailand, and then we also have another events this year. And if your company are interested in entering the competition, then you are welcome. You can follow the details on the website. later. All right. Okay. Let's get back to what we are here for today. Okay. Today, roughly, I'm gonna split my talk into 3 parts here. The first part would be on human creativity, what it is and how we measure it, right? And then the second part would be on AI. It would be a basic of AI. So how it works, how the machine learns, and what AI do best, something like that. So, and the last part is I'm going to combine the AI with creativity and how it applies in the marketing field and the ethical use of AI, right? That's going to be the issue, and the research field in AI in marketing. Okay, all right. Let's not delay. All right, let's start with the definition of AI. Okay, Bowden had defined the word creativity for human. All right, AI is no, not AI. Sorry, creativity is the ability to generate novel and valuable idea. That's the definition for creativity. All right, in 1988. And also, Maher and Fisher, in his research, say creativity is a process. It's a process of creating ideas, right? The process starts with combination, and then exploration, and then transformation to create a novelty, valuable, and surprise of ideas. All right. Combination is a sub-process of by association of 2 distinct domain objects. Right. By associations mean you are combining 2 things that has never been combined before. Right. For example, like 2 distinct things that has never been merged before, and then form into a new domain objects. All right, that's simple. All right. Exploration. This means, right? The exploration of possible ideas of what the combining association could lead to. Then the process of transformation would mean the association of transform. It would, the process of combining 2 things. Once you have ideas, then you explore it into many ideas, and then those ideas then are transformed into things, right? Change into things that are novel, that are valuable, and of course surprise. That are the whole process of creativity. All right. The exploration means you are explore many ideas. Is also called divergent thinking. Diverge means spread out, right? Transforming, you select from many ideas, and then you select it. Which is good idea, you keep it. Which is bad idea, you throw it away. That's been divergent. All right. So it is like that. You combine 2 different things, that combination, you explore it, you combine it, and you keep a lot of ideas, and then you select only few good ideas. Right? That's the whole creativity process. And then Kuger and Koslow say the synthesis of all metamorphosis is a process of creativity thinking. So you use divergent thinking in order to combine, synthesize them, and use metaphor. Metaphor is you compare it to something that you know, right? Metaphor. You compare some subject to something that you know. You think about something. For example, like you think about the night vision, you compare it to the eyes of the owl, the owl. So the owl is the kind of bird that see very good in the night. So you compare the night vision of a camera to the owl, something like that. And then it has the impact on originality, right? Originality. You believe it to deliver creative marketing ideas. You apply that to the marketing ideas, right? That's the divergent thinking. And the convergent thinking is the process of refined original ideas, require prime knowledge from original domain to judge. All right. So you have to have knowledge before you decide that this idea is good or bad. You have to have a common knowledge first. All right, before selecting it. All right. And I just did a research on divergent thinking and convergent thinking with appropriateness and originality, right? They do it with three groups of person: the students, which is a novice; executive, they think is a moderate; and experts are the creatives in the field of marketing. All right. Student has very little knowledge, right? Formal knowledge, and they see things very new, right? So they don't. They have a lot of ideas, right? Everything are new to them. So when they get together, they talk about ideas. They talk about things, and everything is so fancy to them. So when they think about creativity, they just look at things and they see it. They have a lot of fancy ideas. They have a lot of everything new to them for the student. So, in terms of originality, they would have a lot of ideas, when they are thinking together, right? But appropriateness, that means if this idea is valid or not, that may not be the issue. All right. So when they are getting together and do the divergent thinking, they may have a lot of idea, but they may not be sure that those ideas are appropriate or not, right? When applied to their works, right? In contrast to the expert may have a lot of experiences. When they discuss, they may not have a lot of originality. That means they have a lot of experience. They have seen a lot of works before, right? They may not have originality in their ideas. Those ideas have been used, and they may have ideas that are stolen from the work from others or something like that. All right. But on the contrary, when they are being the judge, they have been discussing in doing the convergent thinking, they would have a lot of appropriateness when they are discussing if the idea is appropriate to use or not. So you will see that appropriateness is the degree of appropriateness is increasing for the expert, right? But originality may be down for the expert. But when it comes to divergent thinking, originality is very high for the novice, but appropriateness may be, not so high. All right, for the divergent thinking, something like that. That would be the result found from the two sides. So you see the contradiction between this, right? So this is the slide that say the creativity quotients from Terence test. There is this test that was developed 50 years ago. This is very interesting because Terence has defined that in creativity thinking, there were 5 domains or 5 dimensions that when we measure creativity for human, we should look for these 5 domains. The first one is the fluency. Fluency is the number of relevant ideas that shows the ability to produce the number of figural image. This means from a general, for example, like for a general circles, how many figures you can make out of a general circles, right? For example, like from a general circle, you can make like different kind of faces out of a simple circles. That would be the fluencies, right? The second one is originality. Originality is the degree of novelty of an idea, indicating the novelty, uniqueness, and unusual level of the subject idea. That means from a simple circle like this, how many type of different type of figures that you can make out of just a simple circle, right? The first one is the sun. The second one, from a simple circle, you can make into a clock. The third one is a doll face. The fourth one, you maybe draw just a simple circle into something else, something like that. It's called originality. All right. The third type that you should look into is elaboration. Elaboration is the ability to develop or embroider, polish, and execute, careful conceive the number of added ideas. That means you are giving it the details. For example, like from a general circles, right? You can draw a simple face out of that. Now, you can put more ideas like with the hair, with the eyes, with the nose, mouth. Then with more ideas like a hat into it, a hair with a beard, something that are, you elaborate more into just a simple circle. Then the fourth one would be the resistance to premature closure. A complete figure with a straight line or a simple curved line. So given a simple stick of letter Y in there, then somebody cannot just stand having a simple letter Y figure, right? They have to go and draw something out of it. Someone draw a complete bicycle out of a simple figure Y. Someone draw a yardstick out of it. Someone just draw a complete cowboy figure holding that wide stick out of it. The last one would be the abstractness to the titles. Someone saw a figure in there, and then from there they create some story out of just a simple figures. Someone narrate a story into a long words and abstractness and wideness, something like that. So these are the dimensions and the measurements of creativity. All right. So last year, my student and I were interested in this. So as the term project, we conduct an individual study research on this using a mixed methodology. We studied on the topic of we want to know the dominance differences in creativity thinking between the liberal arts and science and engineering student, of how they use the 5 domains of creativity, of the Chinese students from the Baise University in China. So, I put on this slide because the liberal arts, liberal arts and science and engineering are 2 different kind of peoples. I just want to put the example of liberal arts student, and I couldn't think of anyone except if you know Kun Chok Bulakun. Kun Chok Bulakun is the businessman who owns the Chok Chai farm. So I just found this quote from a website. He said, the liberal art people they use the logical and emotional parts, the thinking and feeling. So this kind of people are using the feeling and science together. So these are the kind of people. If you don't know what kind of liberal art people are, and when you know the science and engineering, the science and engineering, just like myself, they are the kind of people who look for troubles all the time. If they don't have anything to do, they just make one and then they fix it. Right? That's the kind of people. So you see the difference, right? We just want to explore of what kind of between these 2 type of people, what kind of creative thinking, the differences in creativity in the mind of these 2 peoples are. There must be something, differences. All right. So we just did this research for the field of our study, and then we ran the quantitative test with the 80 Chinese students between these 2 groups of students. So 40 students from the liberal arts and 40 from the science and engineering students there. And we found that out of the 5 domains, we found that the liberal arts scored high on fluency for the liberal arts, right? While the science and engineering score very high on elaboration and resistance to premature closing. That was quite astonishing because we were quite surprised though. They are no different on the originality and elaborations. So I just told my student to follow up with qualitative approach to go and interview both of them, both groups, why the difference are there, right? So she went on and go and ask the liberal arts why the difference was on the high frequency. If you still remember, the high frequency is you see the circle, and then you make a lot of out of the circle you make a lot of different faces. The more of the different faces, that's the better, right? And the result is that they pay a lot of details to alternate choice. That's mean the liberal arts, before they start the work, they want to have a lot of examples before they start, right? They just want to have, before they make the decision in order to, before starting, they want to have as many as examples before they making the decision. They want to, before start doing anything, they want to be prepared, be ready. They want that works to come and look good before starting anything. Want to be ready. Why the engineering and science are focusing on high elaborations and premature closing. That means they are paying a lot of details to the process and a lot of details to the ending. That means they are paying attention on the process of how things are going to be finished, and at the end of the results, how it's gonna look like, and how they're gonna deliver the results. That's kind of being the nature to the science and engineering, though. So at the end, well, we can conclude that it's not quite a surprise at all. That would be the nature of the kind of work, though, between the two sides. Well, that's conclude by the nature of the work itself. It's not quite a surprise, right? Now let's get back to AI. Okay. So let's stick with the definition first before we step into the work of AI. Okay. So this definition is AI is the machine that mimic the human intelligence in tasks such as learning, planning, and problem solving through the higher level autonomous knowledge creation. Right. So AI in terms of network or neural network perspective, it can be divided into three types. The first one is called the multilayer perceptron, or MLP, which is the most simple original type of AI. Right? It contains of the input layer, the processing layer or the hidden layer, and the output layer. All right. This type of network can be found in the application of pattern recognition, customer churn prediction, credit scoring, customer loyalty. Right. The second type is the convolutional neural network, or CNN. This type of network is commonly found in the image recognition, computer vision, natural language processing, time series forecasting, something like that. All right. And the last type is recurrent neural network, or RNN. This type is so much like the first type. It has input layer. It has processing hidden layer network. It has the output layer network, except in the processing layer network, it has a recurrent network. That is, it has a recurrent loop, so that it can have what is called the time or sequence of time. It is being used in the speech recognition. It can be used in the sequence generation, like the music, the word, the voice. Can be used in the text translation, or sentimental analysis. It can be used in something that required memory, for processing, comparing between the previous version and the next version, something like that. I will go into details a little bit later. So in multi-layer perceptron, this kind of network AI can be used in our very first generation of AI. So we have seen that. For example, like this would be a schematic of neural network for recognizing image of cats. When you train an AI, you just input a lot of pictures. Like, for example, like if you want to train a machine to learn this is a cat, then you just input a lot of pictures of cats, different kind of cats into the system, right? You use a different kind of pictures of cats or dogs or whatever, so that you hope that the machine will memorize that this is cat, this is also cats, this is cat, this is also cats. And then when you put another picture of cats, you hope that the machine gonna realize that this is also cats, right? And then when you put a picture of dog, that is not a cat, right? You put a lot of picture of cats so that machine gonna realize that this is cat. But once you put the picture of dog into that, then the machine will realize that this is a picture of not cat. Right? That's how the multi-layer perceptron works. All right, that's how the system do in terms of neural network. All right. In convolutional neural network, it works slightly different. Well, you input the picture of cats. That picture of cats are segregated. Picture of cats are separated. Like this is the ear of the cat, right? This is the eye of the cat. This is the nose of the cat. It segregated into categories. This is the ear, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the paw, the fur, and things like that. So it's segregated into different parts of the cats. And then when you put another picture of the cats, it's also segregated and then compare parts by parts by parts. That's the convolutional neural networks, how it works. And then it has this integration, segregation, and then it has the part of synthesize and then compare with probability, and then at the end it will sum up if it's the cats or not at the end. It's called a convolutional neural network. It works differently from the perceptron kind of things. That's how the AI works. All right. You see the difference between the perceptron and convolutional. Right? And the last one is the recurrent neural network. It's so much like the perceptron network, except it has the recurrent neural network. That means it has a memory capability come into play. So once you input it, it can store the previous result in the loop, and then the next input, it will be processed and then compare with the last result. It has a function of feed forward, and then it has a function of the next cycle, and then it compare, and then to match if the results of the previous one and the current one is matched. It can be used for like machine translation, speed recognition, and image captioning, something like that. So it has the application for it, like weather forecast or speech recognition or something like that. It use. Now look at how the AI learns. There are three types of learning input. You may have heard of the supervised learning and unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning. All right, supervised learning are a very common kind of input, right? This is the common for machine learning, right? The machine learning is a branch of AI based on the development of learning technique to allow machine to learn based on analysis of data, applying some algorithm for this processing and other for decision making. Right, that's the machine learning, which is a subset of AI. Again, then there are three types of machine learning. Supervised learning. Supervised learning is that when your input data are labeled, you know that the input type are very specified, right? Input type, you know what it is, what kind of input it is, and then the machine will process according to the input type, right? For example, like when the machine receives the data, you know that the data is a specific type. For example, when you feed the data for the accountant, you know that this data is the revenue data. This data is the cost data. This data is the revenue, the cost, or the certain specific type of data. When you do accounting, all right, it is a label data, is a supervised learning. Or this is the name data. This is the last name data. This is citizen ID data. It is being supervised learning type of data. You know the input type. All right. When you feed the data into the system, that are the supervised data. You know what it is already. The system don't have to guess what type of data they are receiving. That are the supervised data. All right, supervised learning. The second type is the unsupervised data, unsupervised learning. The data that the system receives, the system do not know what kind of data it is. For example, like unstructured data, when the system receives, the system don't know what kind of data it is. For example, when it do the text mining, they read it from the newspaper. They just don't know what kind of data it is. They have to try to guess it, right? The system will find the pattern against some rules. That's the unsupervised data, unsupervised learning. All right, that would be the difference between supervised learning and unsupervised learning. All right, the third type of learning would be the reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is the learning based on surrounding environment around it, from the answer given to it. For example, if you remember the game of chess or the game of Go that the system is playing against the champion of chess, the champions of Go players, right? The data given, well, they know is about the Go game or chess game. The system knows that, but the kind of input is generally the free flow of it can be any form. It can be a free rules. It can be a free flows of any rules, right? The system has to receive that, and then it's a free form. System has to receive it and then guess of what kind of certain set of rules that the human input into it, and then have to guess of what kind of next move they have to predict, and then play around it. That's the reinforcement learning. So there are three types of learning paradigms that the system can receive. So when you are talking with the AI developer in the future, you're gonna hear a lot of supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. These kind of words, gonna be very common for you when you deal with this kind of professions, right? So we have learned about the learning types, the machine learning, the kind of words that is familiar with. Now, when we talk with machine learning, another kind of words that quite common with AI is the algorithm. Algorithm is the kind of set of rules that AI is working with, right? The algorithm would be the heart of how AI is performing. Is a set of rules or the set of how AI is operating, right? There are a few, there could be more, but there are a few that really instruct how AI operates. So I will cover some in here, but you will be fascinated of how AI are operated, right? Right, like the first one, the easiest one, the decision tree. This is quite common in natural language processing. Decision tree is a tree-like structure of decision as the node with branches as possible consequences of decision. It's like a what if kind of decision making rules for AI. Like, what if this condition happened? It tells the machine to make decision. If this happened, then what to do? Something like that. It's for example, like this is the root node. For example, if ask the question like, do I have money for anything apart from the dress, right? If I want to buy a dress, do you have money for the dress? If I don't have money, then you can't do anything, right? Decline the offer. But if you have money, then next step, what do I have to do? Do you like the recommended product? So if you like it, if you like the product, yes, right? Yes, then you go to this way. But if you don't like the product, then you decline the offer. You don't buy it. But if you like it, then you can try it on, right? And if you decide later if you like it or not. If you don't like it, then you don't buy it. But if you like it, then you buy it. That would be the kind of decision tree. The same thing when you develop natural language processing, it would be a yes/no questions, right? When you speak to a machine, then you ask questions to the machine, then the machine asks you back. It would be a conversation like that, right? You talk to the machine asks you back. It would be a decision tree like that, right? That would be some example. Right? That's how the machine works. The second algorithm is the associative rules. If you are the Amazon shopper or Netflix, Netflix, the online video watcher. You may be familiar with this kind of algorithm though, already. When this kind of algorithm is very famous in the e-shopping, e-commerce kind of thing. When you may remember that when you go and buy things from the e-commerce website, once you buy it, then at the end of the screen, they also recommend you, like, the buyer who buy this also buy this item and things like that, right? There are this kind of algorithm that calculate the suggestion of also by this is called the confidence index. The confidence index really calculate from the transaction that others are making transaction from the transaction that they made from the database in the point of sale and things like that. So it has a function to calculate from this. So it has a formula to do that. And then another interesting index is the lift index. The lift index shows that there are formula like that. If the lift index is greater than 1, then the two occurrence are dependent. That means if the lift index of the milk and bread is that greater than 1 and the butter, that means milk and bread and butter are dependent. That means people who buy milk and bread also buy butter. They are dependent. Milk and bread and butter are dependent, right? And if it's less than 1, that means milk and bread and butter are substitute. That means milk and bread and butter can replace milk and bread if the index is less than 1, something like that. So this is the meaning of the lift index. So this is how they use this kind of algorithm here and the meaning. Right? So it's really how it works. Another interesting algorithm is genetic algorithm. Genetic algorithm, as the name says, is resemblance to the work of Mendel. They use a genetic kind of metaphor, to simulate the calculations of the number here. So genetic algorithm is a process of generating some sequence number, and this sequence number can be used in calculating the optimized results to generate something. It's been used in finding the optimum number in something that is quite useful. I will tell you later of how it is used. So the process is that the system will generate some sequence of number, right? Then it has the fitness test. Then it's gonna do the selection. It's gonna split and do the crossover, just like the gene doing the crossover, and then it has the mutation process, something like that. It's so much like the human gene to do the genetic algorithm. And then for this, the best to explain is that the example is the knapsack to explain the genetic algorithm. The knapsack is if you have a bag that can carry an item, like some item. For example, like the bag can carry 12 kilograms of items, right? If you're gonna carry, for example, the items that are 5 kilograms, 3 kilograms, 7 kilograms, and 2 kilograms. And then each item has the values of 12, 5, 10, and 7. What would be the optimum numbers for you to carry in this bag if you go shopping, right? And you can carry this back home, right? That would be the classic number, the classic example for you to go shopping, all right? The system gonna generate the sequence of number for you, right? Randomly. That would be the classic problem for you, all right? The first round, the system gonna generate this sequence of number. 0 gonna represent each item here. 0 gonna be, that means you're not gonna get this item. 1, that means you're gonna get this item. 1, that means you're gonna get this item. And 0, that means you're not gonna get this item, all right? So the first round is that you're gonna carry this 0, 1, 1, 0, right? Then the fitness function, the fitness assignment is that you're gonna carry the first round of 10. That means the selection is fine, all right? And you carry the $15 value, then it's fine. You can carry these items back home. And then the second round, you're gonna carry this. The system gonna generate you 1111, which is 17 kilograms. Then your bag gonna be torn apart, which is you're gonna overload your bag. Then you cannot carry this back home, right? You're not gonna success for that. Then the third time, system gonna generate you 0111. That means 12. Okay, you pass the fitness test with $12, all right? Then the first one and the first two, you pass. Then you come to the fourth one. Then the function is they're gonna do the crossover. That means you're gonna cross over between the first bit, the last one, the last bit, and the last bit of the first generation and the second generation here. All right, you switch over between the two. All right. Okay, you switch over here, and then the crossover mutation. That means randomly you're gonna switch this bit from 1 to 0. All right, then you're gonna have a mutation of generation 1 of 0, 1, 0, 1. All right, then you're gonna try that as generation 1 and carry that back home. If that passes the fitness, then you're gonna do it again and again and again in the loop like that, right? Until you keep doing it until like you reach generations like 100 generations, right? With mutations, right? And the application is that at some certain point, you're gonna reach the optimum number where you're gonna have the best near 12 kilograms of the bag that you can carry. That would be your optimum point. All right. So that that optimum point would be the best point for you to reach the best weight. All right. So the application for that is you can select the best or the best with some certain optimum number. You can use that optimum point to generate for vehicle routing, theater sport seating, or you can use that to design circuit switch network or design circuit antenna or something like that. Just imagine if you have like 100 items, 1,000 items to carry on in that bag, then it's going to be beyond human brain to carry that. 4 items is easy, but if it's 100 items, then it's going to be beyond a human, capability to do that. All right, another example is the support vector machine algorithm. This one is famous for the smart traffic. You may have seen that application in the police force right now. They have been using that in the police force. Maybe some of you have already received the police ticket. The first one is that they define this smart moving vehicle, which is an object. They just define a moving object here with a vector machine here. They just define it, point it with the red square thing here, anything that are moving. And they define another object that cross with the virtual plane here. And then any moving objects that cross the virtual plane will trigger the rules. Any moving object that cross the virtual planes here will trigger the rules. And then once it triggers the rules, then it's gonna activate the data from the database, right? Which is activate the rules, and then it can be programmed to do anything, right? Or even set the scanner to read the license plate here, to read from the database of the nameplate, and then send you the the fine receipt to charge you with the fine to your home. Okay, another one is a clustering algorithm, right? Clustering algorithm is a machine learning technique that involves the grouping of the data points. Given a set of data points, we can use a clustering algorithm to classify each data point into a specific group. So in theory, data points that are in the same group should have similar properties and or the features, while data points in different groups should have highly dissimilar properties and or features. Clustering is a method of unsupervised learning, and is a common technique for statistical data analysis used in many fields. Right? Maybe if you are familiar with this movie from the Netflix Startup, the series, which was popular in the Korean series out last year, at the end of last year, right? If you have been watching this series, there was this lady, right? She was losing her eyesight from that movies, and she was having trouble separating this kind of pills that she has to intake every day, right? And her niece was running the startup company, so she asked the developer, the boyfriends, to develop a program, an app, to segregate the machine that she has to take every day. So the machine used this clustering algorithm, to use the computer visions and to segregate the shape, the size, and the color of the pills, the medicine that you have to take daily. So the app will tell the ladies here that this machine has to be taken before or after the meal, and in which meal of the days. All right, that's how the clustering algorithm works. Right, so it helps with everyday life. All right, and the last algorithm that I'm gonna mention today is the Bayesian network. Bayesian network is a type of probabilistic graphical model that use Bayesian inference for probability computations. Bayesian network aims to model condition dependence and therefore causation by representing conditional dependence by its indirected graph. If you know the directed graph is a causation network, right? By representing conditional dependence by its into directed graph. So it creates a graph of dependency network here. For example, like wet grass is caused from either the water from the sprinklers or the rain. It has the probability associated with it. Like the wet grass is caused from the probability from the rain, or it was caused from the probability from the water from the sprinkler, especially if that day was cloudy, right? So if any day is cloudy, then the probability of the wet grass would cause from the water from the rain and from the sprinkler. But if that day is not cloudy, the probability of the wet grass may cause from the water from sprinkler rather from the rain. That would be the work of the Bayesian network. And if you remember that last month, if you follow the work of Dr. Vincent, he mentioned about IBM's Watson on Jeopardy games on the TV show in America. The Jeopardy games, a TV show that used Watson, the AI, to power, and Watson had won the games over the two human contestants here. Watson was the TV shows that the show host asked the question, and the questions was the answer to the games, and the contestant has to give the answer, which is the questions. What was the question to the given answer? Well, it's a little bit awkward, but it was that. The Bayesian network is also using this kind of probability to determine what would be the likelihood or the closest with highest probability to be the questions, which is the answer to that questions anyway. All right. So that is how the Bayesian network comes into play, right? The way the Watson works is that so one is heard what the question was, then it formulate the hypothesis of what would be the hypothesis of that in relations to the questions, and then it calculate from its knowledge base here. It has a big bank of database here, and then it calculate the likelihood, the possibility of the closest, the probability. Then it provided the best guess of the probability, and it won. The same as the game of chess that it won on the game playing with the chess champion from Russia, and also the Go game and things like that. It used the Bayesian network, right? It used the calculation of the correlation and the regressions analysis. That's how the Bayesian network works, right? So we have all known that computer had crossing the boundary of physical for a long time, right? Computer had surpassed the physical skill of human. Computer had done better than human on the automation, on the augmentation, and on the amplifications, right? It had been known to excel the human in those areas for a long time. Now, in the cognitive skill, computer has an excellence better than man in the memory for a long time, right? Now, in the cognitive skill, computer is making the progress better than man very soon. It's trying to beat human in the learning skill, right? Now with all those algorithms, with the research from these Indian doctors, right? The human brain is not perfect. We all know that. As we grow older, our brain is fatigued and degenerated. We all have symptoms like, Alzheimer, dementia, and things like that. When we grow old, we forget things. It's not perfect. It can be wrong. Sometimes we have defect in investigation, diagnostic, and analysis. We can be wrong in that. It's not sharp and outdated. And then AI-enabled creative thinker and outperform human creative thinker in the cognitive domains. We all know that we can teach machine to learn something like how to paint like Van Gogh. They just can resemble the painting of Van Gogh. They just learn how to write like J.K. Rowling, the writer of J.K. Rowling. It can compose songs like Johann Strauss, that classical songs, things like that. So in the future, I don't know, emotions and intuitions. We believe that human can do this better, but who knows? In the near future, it start to learn and do things like human. I don't know. We have to be aware of that. They are learning like human and closer like human every day. In 2015, Voodoo and Chen had conducted this experiment. So even though his experiment was not about AI, it was on the consumer creativity. So he developed these little programs in marketing. He developed a little e-card kind of little system with a little icons like and so that anyone who comes and buy a kiwi chocolate can generate an e-card. They can generate an e-card with all those words like blessing words and send it to the recipient, something like that. But they have to answer with questions like the creative attitude toward the brand and attitude toward the task and the purpose of the study and things like that. The 3 questions, things like that. And they found that there is a positive effect brand attitude in creativity theme online marketing programs, right? And then the second thing that they found from this research is that this effect is mediated by consumers' attitude toward creativity activity itself. That's mean the little creativity that they are doing really, create the positive attitude toward the brand image. That means the little creativity activities here that they are doing with the brand really impress the customer. So any activity that having involved with the customer, that express the creativity of the customer, really tied together with the brand involvement. That means so if we involve creativity to the brand, so the brand engagement will stick with the customer more. So it means that brand customer creativity means a lot. Customer creativity means a lot to the brand engagement, right? This is a word from Chief Marketing Officer from JP Morgan and Chase, that AI and machine learning become critical tools that need to develop marketing creative, improve customer relationship, and drive personalizations. So AI and machine learning become critical tools. We all know that it will be a necessary tools to develop marketing creative and improve customer relationship, to drive personalizations. It will be the tools to stay for a marketing practitioner, right? All right. So in other words, we know that how AI works here. We know how to measure the creativity in a human behavior. So we can trail the customer creativity from the work of the customer or the consumer, right? Using TTCT, we have seen the work that the consumer or the customer had done. We use that TTCT, which comes in two types, either the figural or verbal, right? The figural appears in the pictures the consumer had leave the work, either on the social medias or on the work that they leave in the notes or the work that they write in the papers or something, in the articles or something. We can use those that they leave behind and use AI to track down the writing. For example, a note like this with a drawing like this, we can trail down, using figural tests like fluency, originality, or elaborations, resistance to premature ending, abstractness to titles. We can use the AI to trail those, or we can even use the text, to translate that, using AI to interpret that into the fluency or originality. Combine them, interpret them, and convert them into the sense of, creativity index. And then we use what kind of customer that has creativity in what domain or in what dimensions. And then we can use those results, to track down, and then, design the program, marketing program to design your product, or to track down the customer of how you can engage them to buy your product, or design your marketing campaign, design your, or even, drafting your staff to be on your team. There are many of the applications that you can use with this. The application is endless, right? Start using AI, doing the application on AIs in the marketing area, then the application is endless, right? And last but not least, there are ethical awareness, right? Dosilovic, Bersic, and I'm sorry, the name is quite hard to pronounce, though they are from Eastern Europe, had conducted a survey in 2018 that potential ethical pitfalls should be addressed as soon as possible, since inactivity could lead to unforeseeable splits and differences in the future society, right? So the conduct of this survey is on transparency and explainability of AI, using AI. The recommendation is that there are evidences of problem with ethical and quality of life using AI in real-world scenario, from the application area of financial, governmental, judicial, and autonomous vehicle. So trust issues seems to become more problem as AI become more widespread. Trust problems come from ambiguity of interpretability and explainability relate to finding, checking, and reasoning over useful properties. So we have to beware since the beginning. We just can't ignore that AI is being useful, but we have to be careful on using it. So ethical is in the sense of using AI. We have to be careful of that. All right. And researching on AI and marketing creativity and consumer creativity is still very limited. Using open knowledge maps, which is visibility tools on research on AI with creativity and consumer creativity, display this in graphical notions between this research is still very limited here. I only found like 15 documents in AI and marketing creativity, and only 6 documents in AI and consumer creativity. There are plenty of rooms to do research in these fields, and well, still a lot of possibility to do research in this area. All right, that would conclude my presentation today, and hope it brings your interest in doing research in this between human creativity, AI, and marketing. That will conclude my presentation today. Thank you very much, and hope you gain some interest in AI and marketing and creativity. All right, I'd like to welcome, if you have any questions, well, feel free to leave your comments and questions. Sorry, take a little bit longer than an hour today. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Kun El.
Okay. Okay, Khun Tới, thank you. Okay, so today I'm watching now. So now we don't have anybody who asks a question. Oh, have one, like a Dr. Vincent said, thank you to you to share this presentation, like
Right.
that. But I think that it's scarce to have a lot of people that use their creativity, with AI to support their customer problem, or then they can get a customer certification at the end, like that. And then another thing that I think we need to be aware of, some AI maybe have a violate privacy of ethics or something like that you share. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so thank you, and today I have to thank you again for sharing the knowledge for us, and many startup maybe should have can use this knowledge to use in the real life. Okay.
Right.
ขอบคุณค่ะ and then please follow TDPK activity via TDPK Facebook or website. We have many program, many activity that you can join. โอเคค่ะ ขอบคุณนะคะ
ครับผม ยินดีมากครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
ครับ